subscribers. Well, subscribe already. Hit the fucking like button and subscribe before I knock your ass out, man. I'm fucking with you, man.
Back on pay-per-view from Vancouver, Canada. Haven't been back to Canada since, I think, 2018, so it has been quite a long time. Not a stack card, not the best card, not the most exciting card for the return back to Canada. But we have a few fun fights. I'll be going over the main card like usual, guys, breaking down the fights, providing free picks, leans, talk pricing, and maybe also what to avoid. Systemsportscapping.com is the website to receive my personal plays. Personal plays are out after the weigh-ins on Friday. Also currently handy NHL, Stanley Cup, NBA Finals, PGA, and UFC. Getting ready for the NFL season as well. System capping on all social media platforms, guys. I do free videos over there on TikTok and Instagram. We're 10-3 on those, 77%. Give me a follow over there. Also on Twitter. Everything sports betting over there. Let's do a quick recap of UFC Vegas 74. Almost a perfect free card. Besides the main event, everything else was correct. Some would say the judges stole it as well. And, I do think Kai maybe slightly edged it out. People are talking about robbery and stuff. They're casuals. It's definitely not a robbery. The fight's very close. Obviously, I think it was third round was the most clear round, right? Even the rounds that Kai won, they weren't super clear. They were close, but he did probably edge it out due to significant strikes. But just remember, Albazi almost choked Kai out in round 3. Had back control for, I think, about 3 minutes. So that was the most clear round. Everything else was pretty much up in the air. Probably Kai stole the 5th round fairly clear. But it was a close fight, guys. It wasn't robbery. The one thing I was surprised, I actually took the fight not to go the distance. That's what I was surprised about. That fight didn't go. Almost ended in the 3rd round. But didn't get there. It was a 1-2 card for me personally. We hit on Santos and Elliott at plus money. Got a nice plus 126 on that. But like I mentioned, obviously the fight going the distance in the main event allowed me not to profit last week. UFC 2023, guys. We're 65% on my bets. Client plays, of course, and just over 60 units in the long-term market. We're not going to go over all sports today. I'm going to start doing all sport updates every other week or whatnot. But quick, nice winner on Denver last night. Minus 2.5 money line. First bet of the NBA Finals. No NHL bets. I do have one pending tonight. But yeah, very low volume right now in the finals. I don't just bet every game just to bet it, right? The reason why I profit each year is because I'm disciplined. And that's very important when you're handicapping sports full time. All other sports are available at my website for updated records. Head over there. Let's hear from my friend Meredith before we get into this card.
Guys, Meredith Gorman here, and are you still not subscribed to Matt's channel? Well, if you're not, hit the subscribe button because he's giving out free picks each and every week. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
Shop around, guys. Have multiple books. Prices vary. Props are on some books, some not. Have multiple books so you have the best options and get the best price on the market. Nunez minus 330 versus Aldana plus 260. It's a good main event, but is it a main fight pay-per-view, big type of pay-per-view card type of fight? No, I'm not in love with this fight. But Nunez obviously gets the pay-per-view spot. And we'll see what she does with it. Back as another fairly big favorite here. I agree with the line. Some would say maybe there's even some value at this price. I don't know about that. I never say there's any value really on minus 330. But, I thought maybe it would be maybe closer to the 500 range, 450, 400, in that range. So we're getting 330 here on Nunez. And I get it. Aldana is live here at this price at plus 260, mainly due to her striking, right? You could somewhat even say maybe her boxing and striking and movement. Slight advantage over Nunez, but obviously overall MMA fighter, Nunez clearly the more well-rounded girl, right? And that's, I think, going to be the difference here. I think Nunes is going to mix it up and use her wrestling and takedowns, just like she did against Pena in that last fight, right? Nunes, some would say when you're champion, you start making a lot of money, you had the babies, there's some distractions outside of the ring. We did see that could have been the case against Pena, but she stressed time and time again that it was because of injury. It was because of injury that she lost that fight to Pena. So we have to take her word for it, right? She came back and showed against Pena that, that's probably what happened here. Due to the domination she had over Pena in the second fight, I do have to take her word for it. And, some would say that could play again here in this fight. However, I'm going to look at it and say, this is Nunes back to her old self, and just, that one loss, let's not look at it too much, right? Let's look at her overall resume, right? And we know very difficult to beat when she's on her game, and I expect her to be on her game here, and I expect her to use her MMA skills, which I mean grappling and wrestling as well. And Aldana does struggle in that department, right? She just fought Macy Chiasson. Chiasson was able to take her down 3 times. Obviously, Holly Holm was able to beat her with the takedowns. And I have Nunes as a better grappler wrestler than both of those. So both of those ladies. So, getting Nunes here at this price, it could be a 2-fight parlay piece for you this weekend. I do think she wins this fight. The only way Aldana wins this fight, remember, it's a 5-round fight. She has to keep the fight standing for 5 rounds. Obviously not all 5 rounds, but she'd probably get taken down here and there. But she would have to do damage on the feet. And she could. She punches hard, very good boxing, but she's going to have to avoid the takedowns. And I just don't see that happening throughout the fight. So I'm going to have to look at Nunes here. Don't love the price, but you could mix it in with in a 2-fight parlay. And, an outcome is very tough. I would lean for Nunes to finish the fight at some point. However, it's a lean. I won't be betting it in any standpoint. But if you ask me an outcome here, I'd say maybe a later stoppage for Nunes. But hey, this could go all 5 rounds too, and maybe Nunes just continues to mix it up on the feet and on the ground, and doesn't get a finish throughout the fight. So it's going to be, I guess, to see if Aldana can continue this Mexican run, right? This Mexican run has been outstanding, right? With Yair and Brendan Moreno and Grasso. Can she be the 4th here? And I just don't see it happening here unless somehow she's really improved her takedown defense and wrestling. And the Chiasson fight was just, not too long ago. And you can't really get that much better in wrestling, within 6 months or whatever the time period was. So if Nunes stays to that game plan, like if she decides to just stand and bang, there could be some trouble for her, and I think that's how Aldana wins the fight. But I think Nunes will make it ugly, mix it up, and that's how she'll continue winning and keep that belt. Charles Oliveira plus 126 versus Dariush minus 150. Shop around. You'll be able to get a better price on Dariush if you do like him. This is the main event in my eyes. This is an exciting fight. This is the fight I'm excited for. Both guys kind of look to finish a fight, especially Charles. Very aggressive, looks for that finish on the feet and submission. I usually like Charles in fights where he has a big grappling advantage. So if he does hurt the person, he can jump on the neck, choke him out. He's not going to have one here, guys. Dariush, you guys got to remember, very well-rounded fighter, but you got to remember, he came into the UFC as a really good jiu-jitsu guy. I would say he's probably a better overall jiu-jitsu guy than Oliveira. Oliveira has obviously some unique submissions, and he's able to work submissions on maybe, I guess, lower level guys. But Dariush is not a lower level guy. He's been mentioning it all week. He would love to go to the ground with Oliveira, right? Oliveira is not going to submit Dariush. I would be very surprised if that happens. Very surprised. So I just don't love the matchup here for Charles. I love Charles as a fighter, very entertaining. One of my probably favorite fighters in UFC, right up there with Poirier. But I really like what I see from Dariush. You see him in that Gamrot fight, so well-rounded, right? Gamrot was supposed to be this big-time wrestler. Dariush took him down. Dariush continues to take guys down, and he shows that, he's willing to take you down, even when there's a threat for submission, like Diego Ferreira, like Tony Ferguson. He was able to take those guys down even if there's a threat here. And I do think he can mix this up, make it a MMA fight. Make it, Dariush does have some sneaky power on the feet. He can strike. He's well-rounded on the feet. Charles is just, I think, maybe a little too sloppy here. And, Dariush wins due to his fighting IQ. It's very high. Dariush could have a title shot by now, but he did have that injury. Came back, fought Gamrot, proved that, he deserves that title shot. If he gets a win here against Charles, he's going to get it. I'm going to have to lean Dariush here, minus 150. Hasn't made my betting card, client card as of yet. Of course, I do have to watch the weigh-ins. Charles may have some weight cut issues. There is some rumblings going around in the MMA market that Charles could have a tough cut. So keep that in mind as well. But yeah, I think Dariush gets the job done here. He's made it, this far. Obviously, some bad luck on his side. But I do think he just is a bad matchup for Charles. I'm not saying Charles can't win this fight. Obviously, he can win this fight. It's just, I think where Charles wants this fight to go on and get a submission on the ground, Dariush is really good there. And on the feet, I think it's fairly even on the feet. I think Dariush is more well-rounded on the feet. Probably Charles has maybe a little more power, a little more flash on the feet. Yeah, I got to look at Dariush, guys. I'm going to stick on the Dariush bandwagon here. People keep doubting him. He keeps proving people wrong. So let's look at Dariush minus 50. Don't love it. If I do bet it and does make my client card, it won't be a full unit play. But Dariush may make my client card this weekend. Malott, minus 195 versus Fugit, plus 165. Not many Canadian UFC fighters are high level these days, or talked about it. And who's going to take the face of Canadian MMA? This guy's talked about it. This guy has been looking good. He's been getting finishes so far in the UFC. Very well-rounded. That's what I like about him, with a good wrestling base. So he has a chance here, and this is a big moment for him. He's not getting an easy fight against Fugit. Very good wrestler, Fugit. Very good wrestler. You would maybe even lean he's the better wrestler. On the feet, I have Malott as the better striker, more power. He could end the night early, but I think this could be a battle. I don't love this minus 195 price for Malott. Now, what I do like about Malott, very confident guy, and I do think he's going to enjoy, and the pressure won't get to him, right? Canadian fans going to be crazy for him. You know how the Canadian fans are. One of the best out there in MMA. And I do think Mallott's going to thrive off that. And I do think he'll find a win somehow. The minus 195 is not appealing. Obviously, a 2-fight parlay piece is an option. Also, a KO finish is an option. But Fugit's tough. I do think he's going to try to grapple, wrestle. But I don't think he's going to be able to keep Malott on the ground, right? That's where I think Fugit could be dangerous to some guys. Guys that don't really have a wrestling background. I think he can just take him down. As you can see, over almost 5 takedowns per fight, even though he only has a few fights, but still impressive. But he hasn't fought a guy like Malott who can wrestle. So I do like Malott. Don't love it because of the price at minus 195. I couldn't bet that straight, but like I said, 2-fight parlay piece, maybe a finish, possible finish for Malott due to him having some power on the feet. But I would try to maybe work Malott in a 2-fight parlay this week. Probably will make my betting card for clients. People's main event, fans' main event. We got Dan Hige minus 260 versus Landwehr plus 210. This should be a good one. I'm excited for this fight. Both guys will like to throw down. Should bring pressure. Both guys, right? Both exciting style fighters. Value, of course, here on Nate Landwehr. When you first see it, plus 210. He's on a roll. Nice 3-fight win streak over solid guys, not top-tier guys. And that's the difference, right? Dan Ige is fighting top-tier guys. And when he's losing those fights, it's against the best of the best in this division. He had that 3-fight losing streak, came back, had a win against a lower-level guy in Jackson. Mid-tier guy, sorry, I won't say lower level. And he found a nice finish there, right? Dan Ige has the power, right? 50K Ige, we know what he likes to do. He likes to finish people. I don't think it's the best matchup for Landwehr because Landwehr, if he does bring pressure, it's dangerous, right? Ige can obviously connect with a big shot. And Landwehr, he's more of a volume guy. He likes to bring pressure, likes to win decisions or submissions. He's not going to submit Dan Ige. He's not going to finish Dan Ige. So it's tough to see how Landwehr wins this fight. The only way I think he wins this fight is obviously grinds a decision. It's possible. If he's able to avoid the big shots from Ige, he can win this fight. And that's why I think there is some value here at plus 210. I can't bet Dan Ige at minus 260. Just can't. I would rather just watch this fight, enjoy it from a fan standpoint. If I had to bet this fight, it would have to be maybe Landwehr. You can even change that to a decision, right, and get better than plus 210. It would be a very small unit. That's the only way I can look. Even though I do think Dan Ige should win this fight, I cannot bet it at minus 260 due to Landwehr having a good shot at winning this fight. I think the lines are off here. I would have Ige more maybe at minus 200. So I think there's some value there. But yeah, I just don't love the matchup for Landwehr. But he's proved me wrong before. He's proved me wrong before in other matchups. So don't count him out of this fight, guys. Enjoy the fight. But Dan Ige could definitely finish him at some point. Landwehr could be hit. That's what I'm a little worried about. And when Dan Ige's connecting and landing those big power shots, tough for Landwehr. Tough for Landwehr. Me personally, I'm not going to have a play on this fight, but I'm going to enjoy watching it. I suggest you do too. If you do like, my suggestion is if you like Landwehr, decision. You can get much better than plus 210. And if you like Ige, take a finish so you can approve that price. Hard time seeing this go 3 rounds. I've seen crazier things before, but I see there, being a finish in this fight at some point. Anders plus 120 versus Bureau minus 140. Another Canadian here on the card. So I'm sure you guys seen him fight in the past. Usually a lower. He's not on a main card usually. He's fighting in the prelims or early prelims. It's a fairly even fight, tough fight to call. I'm going to have to lean the Canadian here due to him maybe having a grappling advantage. Anders, we know Anders, right? Very athletic, ex-football linebacker. He's strong. He can wrestle a little bit, decent on the feet, fairly well-rounded everywhere. But I do think the Canadian will have a grappling advantage, maybe like in the clinch. He's good in the clinch too, throwing elbows, he's like a scrappy type of fighter where I can see him sneaking out a close one. But I expect this probably to go three rounds or late into the fight. Very close. Could be a judge's scorecard type thing. Oh, he's a Canadian. It's a close fight. Give it to him. Fighting at home too, it should give him a little more of an edge. Minus 140 is not a bad price. Shop around if you can get a little better. But I'm going to lean the Canadian here to get the job done at home. He has coming off a nice win. Anders just not trustworthy. You don't know where you're really going to get from fight to fight with him. So, and also the one thing to mention on Anders too is volume is very low, right? Like in the low 3 range. He doesn't throw a lot. So if the fight's probably going to go to a decision, you're going to look at the guy that's going to be more active and have more volume. That's going to be the Canadian here. So that will do it. That will do it, guys. It's not the best card. It's not the best card at all, but we do have a couple sneaky good fights. The main event on the prelims is good as well. So Chris Curtis back in action versus Imanov. Decent fight as well. I might have a play on that for clients. Like I always say, guys, bet smart and know your limits. Enjoy the fight card and pay-per-view.